independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
My administration is doing everything in our power to help those impacted by the situation. But the only solution is for Democrats to pass a spending bill that defends our borders and reopens the government.
It fell flat. Didn't do anything. Didn't. 8 minutes, you had your elevator pitch. Pitch to America. What were you going to do different? What were you going to tell the American people last night that they didn't know yesterday afternoon, yesterday morning, the day before that? What were you going to tell? What was going to be your olive branch to take the first step to trying to fix a easily fixable issue so we can reopen the government as adults and move on? What were you going to do? You didn't do anything. You regurgitated the same thing in a monotone way that had zero pizzazz or salesmanship or anything inventive and new that said, hey, boom, you spoke to your echo chamber, and then today they tell you you did a great job.
This situation could be solved in a 45-minute meeting. I have invited congressional leadership to the White House tomorrow to get this done.
Now, he's on the Hill talking about this. What are they going to do? What are they not going to do? What are they going to do? What are they not going to do? How are they going to... Neither side is going to do anything. Because right now, there's no reason to do anything. Nobody's really hurt yet. Nobody's politically paying the price yet. Nobody is in a situation where this could potentially cost them something. Nobody. You're frustrated. I'm frustrated. I talked to a lot of people last night and this morning. They all said the same thing. It was a nothing burger, as Hillary would say. It was nothing. It was a waste of time. Between them and the animatronic old people that came out after him to speak, it was awful. Right? They didn't say anything new either. Nothing happened. The ball was not advanced. But as I tweeted out today, do they really want to advance it? I don't think they do, especially the politicians. Trump is Trump. I don't look at him as a politician the way I look at the likes of Pelosi or the McConnells of the world. I look at them as politicians that's their business. That's the only business they know. I don't look at them the same way. The money is in the disease, not the cure. There's trade-offs. If I was Trump, I come out and I say, let me tell you something. We may disagree with the way that things are getting done and the way that we want to get these things done. We need to step up. I'm going to offer them, and I think they wanted 250, but potentially there's 1 million, give or take, that could be DACA recipients. I would say I'm going to offer X amount of the DACA recipients the opportunity to have a pathway to citizenship. And in return, I want to get this sorted out once and for all. And I think the other thing you need to do is also be honest with the American people. Here's the thing. Somewhere along the line, and this is our fault, I'm assuming, it's because maybe there's just a gap of intelligence between the common sense folk in America and everybody else, that they could easily be fooled and or say, told that, hey, the minute we do this, this is going to solve all the problems, because I think a lot of people feel that way. It's not the end all to be all. It's got to be a full comprehensive reform. But last night fell flat. And when you have X amount of time to make a first impression on the 55,000th time that we continue to give the opportunity to make a first impression, and you do the same thing over and over, and you say the same thing over and over, you regurgitate the talking points that the Hannitys and the Breitbarts and everybody else want you to, there's nothing there. I get it. I agree with a lot of what he said last night. But I agreed with it long before that. Now, I'm a live with it or without it kind of person when it comes to the wall, because I want full reform. And quite frankly, and I think this is, even if we have a wall, unless we enforce the laws on this side of the wall when it comes to immigration, the wall is something that will slow down. It will impede some. It may stop a few. But in the end, they'll figure it out. There's lots of ways of fixing this. So then you go to the other side. So they rolled out the robots last night, and it was the usual talking points from these two youngsters.
Much of what we heard from President Trump throughout this senseless shutdown has been full of misinformation and even malice. The president has chosen fear.
Both sides choose fear because it's an emotion, and what better emotion to use than fear, right? God, use that emotion and you can just, boom, just get it going. Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, and that's what it is. Both sides use fear because it's that kind of emotion. I'm going to evoke an emotion out of you, right? I'm going to tug at your heartstrings. I'm going to get you to act on something. But guess what? Theirs fell just as flat. And once again, I looked at them and I thought they look like robots, right? So she talked about fear. Schumer?
Tonight and throughout this debate and throughout his presidency, President Trump has appealed to fear, not facts, division, not unity.
There you go. Fear, evil, xenophobe, racism. Not being dealt with. Well, it could be a wall, right? We want to build a wall. What does that have to be a wall? How about a barrier? How about this? Right? How about this? Because Trump came out and talked about, because it's a word game.
Law enforcement professionals have requested $5.7 billion for a physical barrier. At the request of Democrats, it will be a steel barrier rather than a concrete wall. This barrier is absolutely critical to border security.
How about a hedge? How about a beautiful, giant hedge? Massive, almost impenetrable, thorns, roses. I mean, just something that is just you don't want to get stuck in it. A beautiful hedge. A giant, huge, people are like, hey, what are you doing? We're taking a vacation. We're going to go check out the hedge. Oh, yeah, nice. Well, yeah, sounds like fun. Oh, yeah, we're going to go to the hedge. Oh, cool. How about that, right? And here's the thing. You can make it massive. You bring on more border patrols. You make it really deep, right? I'm not talking about like a 6-foot in. I'm talking like, 30 yards, thorns, the whole 9 yards. Beautiful. You can plant certain plants. Oh, my goodness me. So much better, right? Little things. Let's make it fun. God, what a joke. What an absolute joke. This whole thing's... When do the adults arrive? That's all I want to know. Are there adults that are going to show up at some point in time and become a part of this conversation? And we sort this out? But this is what happens when you allow a vocal minority in the world of social media to control so much of a conversation that we get these kind of things. Because you don't want your base, and you don't want a certain amount of people to take to the interwebs to thrash you. That is part of your base and to turn on you. Can't have that. Don't want to be looked like you're a weakling. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. So the Bezoses are getting a divorce. I was talking about it earlier, producer Phil, with producer Anthony. What do you think this is going to cost Jeff? I'm thinking because Mackenzie, his wife, and him have been together since pre-Amazon. And even though Jeff is obviously the face of it all, she owns a good portion of it. Does she get half? Does she get half of Amazon? That's a divorce, man. That is a divorce.
She's going to get
paid.
paid.
And it doesn't look... What do you think?
Oh, she's going to get paid.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it is... Now, they got a hold of it, right? He's worth about $40 billion as of today. As of this moment, he's worth $140. They got out in front of this, talked about, it's kind of an amicable thing, and people started pointing out that just for the sake of argument, let's just say it goes a little south here and it gets ugly and she gets, half and they've been together since before Amazon. 4 years after they got married is when he made his first $1 million. So I'm assuming she's going to walk with at least 35 to 50 billion with a B. And that will drop him down from number one to probably, I don't know. And maybe she wants half of it. Maybe she wants half of Amazon. Ooh. Either way, she's not going to be hurting, and neither is he. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Remember, was it Chris Rock that says you make $20 million and she takes half, you all right? You make $30,000 and she takes half, you got to kill her. I don't think that's the case here. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Who's with me on the hedge? Who's with me on the hedge? Should we build a nice hedge? I think it'd be great. Some ponds. Just make it just a beautiful, scenic kind of thing. I think that would be great. Put some AstroTurf out there instead of grass, and where you can grow real grass where the climate allows you to without the climate change. Oh, I think it'd be great. I really do. And I know because I go from Phoenix through Yuma down into San Diego, and I see where some areas you're not going to be able to grow some stuff, but you could put a hedge there. Right, because I see that immoral wall that's already built. It is totally immoral, too. I drive by it smoking and drinking and doing stuff it's not supposed to be doing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Hey, costly repairs. Speaking of driving, I drive a lot. I don't buy new cars. Never been my thing. I'm not really a big car guy, but what I don't want to do is pay for things that I don't have to pay for, like expensive repairs. That's why I got CarShield, extended vehicle protection for CarShield. It's just smart thing to do. Really, really is. They're with you 24/7 with your roadside assistance. They've got rental car for free while your car's being fixed. And what I like about CarShield is they don't say you got to go here. You can take it wherever you want. You can take it to the dealership. You can take it to your favorite mechanic. They'll get them paid directly. If your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles, don't be foolish. Do the smart thing. Take care of your car in all the ways before something goes wrong with it. And then let CarShield handle the rest from there. Do what I did. Get CarShield extended vehicle protection. Call 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson or visit carshield.com. That's carshield.com. Code Benson right there. That's going to save you 10% off the top. 800-CAR-6100 or carshield.com. Code Benson. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
He opened the meeting with allowing them, tell me what you think we should do. Tell me what your offer is. Again, for about the third meeting in a row. After we just spent the whole weekend with staff working things up. Again, no offer whatsoever from Speaker Pelosi or Schumer.
Kevin McCarthy right there. So they had that 45-second meeting or whatever it was. I mean, it was nothing today. And Kevin McCarthy said, hey, Trump said, what do you guys want? What do you want? Give and take in life. I'm asking you a question. What can I do for you that can move this forward? What is there that my side of the aisle, that I myself as president who has to sign this, what can I do for you? And I think it's DACA. And I would have done it again last night. I said it over and over. I would have thrown DACA out there and put the ball in their court. Instead, we got nothing. We got nothing. But what can I do for you that will move this forward? And it didn't last very long because nobody is really wanting to get anything finished or signed or sealed or delivered to the American people because it's not really affecting anybody yet to the point where there's so much pressure that they're going to have to act.
My threshold will be if I can't make a deal with people that are unreasonable.
We'll see. 323-538-2423. A lot of you are tweeting and texting me. I'm all about the hedge. I think we build the hedge. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be pretty to look at. I got to make that drive where I go down from Phoenix, right, through Yuma and everything, seeing that big hedge right there. I think that'd be great. Just be fantastic. It would be. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at it each and every day. We'd like to make you laugh just a smidge. We call this our Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
Malignant humor. That's when you see a meme that is so funny that you double over and you start sharing it and stealing it off the internet as your own. Oh, yes. A lot of you out there. By the way, the internet is meant for you to steal other people's funny things as they would steal yours and pretend that it's their idea or your idea. Malignant humor, your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Facebook. Very cultish. That's what one person's saying after doing a deep dive on people who used to work at Facebook and that weird atmosphere that's over there. Talk about that. And plus the hot things at CES. Wait to hear what the hot items are. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It's cold out here, and the temperature wasn't much warmer in the Situation Room. Our meeting did not last long.
Oh, Nancy, no, it did not last long. And some of the memes are just so hilarious. Producer Anthony just sent me a meme of Chuck Schumer and says, why does Chuck Schumer look exactly like Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters? Oh, my God. No adults in any room to be located anywhere at all? None? None? Nobody? Whatever. I'm over you guys. Call me when you've done something. Until then, I got other things going on. It's really interesting. You know, Facebook is, well, I mean, it's under a lot of scrutiny. Let's be real. From the last election to the data gathering, to the data sharing, to the secrecy. Like a lot of the Silicon Valley companies, they're becoming more and more under scrutiny from individual users and from the masses and from government. And you ever wonder what it's like to work there? And it's very interesting. So Salvador Rodriguez works for CNBC, and he has a thing called Deep Dive. And he went deep into what it is to work at a place like Facebook.
I spoke with more than a dozen Facebook employees who left the company over the last 2 years. And what they detailed for me is just a cult-like work culture at the company that has really influenced a lot of the scandals that we've seen come out of the company over the last 2 years.
Yeah, cult-like. Cult-like. Think about that. Yeah, I would assume. I mean, there is that kind of thing. And let me tell you, I worked for a place when I was younger and I first got into the brokerage world. And I worked for a place where it was very cult-like in the way that they handled business. They spied on you. They had other people snitching on you. It was really, really weird. If you landed a big client, the people that were closest to the top would make sure they got close to you, so in hopes that eventually they could can you and take the client. I mean, it was just very bizarre. And to go in and out of the building, you had to walk with your hands up and your pockets completely out, so you didn't steal any leads. It's weird. It is weird. And I think probably working for any of the alphabet companies, Google, any of these big companies up there, it must be just so weird and competitive. And you've got a lot of young people who, as we all know, have at times trouble dealing with certain things.
What they told me is that it's an environment where they're really discouraged from speaking up about any problems that they see, any orders that they get from management, or just any blind spots that the company isn't addressing. And the way they detailed it, that's why there's so many of these issues that have been coming out recently.
Yeah, and some of the things they talked about just is insane. I was reading it in one part of the article. Again, it's a very deep dive into it, is that they had an all hands on deck meeting where everybody had to show up, whether you're working at the time or not. You show up, and somebody had the audacity to ask the question of one of the senior management people, and he answered the question, and he thought that was it, and literally within an hour, he was just being destroyed. How dare you address anybody? How dare you talk to anybody? How dare you ask a question like that? Because the whole point is they want you to think that you're making a difference. They want you to think that you're a part of something. They want you to think that all of these things, but they've got a very hardline, very, at times, destructive way of handling their business. And they're as ruthless as anybody on Wall Street.
I was struck that you said this used to be the number one firm to work for, according to Glassdoor. It's fallen to number 7. Does that mean they're going to have trouble retaining talent, especially in this moment, Sal, where they're beefing up their workforce to try to better police their content?
Yeah, it is. Why? When I was, 5, 10, 15 years ago, when you think of Silicon Valley, when you think of all of these places, you think of, 20-somethings riding around on scooters, multimillionaires. Everybody's got a kind of a blasé attitude and all of that stuff. And as it's grown over the last 15 years or so, it isn't that anymore. It's ruthless. It's brutal. It is a dog-eat-dog world. They don't care about you. They don't care about, you're a piece of meat, no different to them is the way that other people look across the globe and say, oh, these people that are working in these sweatshops for American companies and European companies, it's the same thing. I mean, think about this. And in many ways, you're thrilled. Oh, I'm working for Facebook. I've got all of these things going for me. Life is great. And you hear stories all the time of these people living in people's backyards, renting out tents or rooms, barely getting by, struggling day in and day out. And they do it because they think they're making a difference, and only to find out that they get caught up in it all.
Yeah, it's a very interesting period for the company. They have all these issues with misinformation on the platform, so they need to hire more people to moderate the content on the service. And it does seem like there could be issues with recruiting because of all these scandals that they're having. This particular period will be very revealing as to how Facebook will fare in accomplishing that goal.
Yeah. Now, this is what I find to be interesting. This is very Gestapo-esque in the way that they do things. it's a rating system, and who gets to rate each other.
Employees grade each other and have to end up with a grade between, there's 7 scores that they can get, the top one being redefined. And there's a lot of confusion as to how these grades are given out. So based on the employees we spoke with, they told us that there's fear and anxiety and just like a lack of transparency when it comes to the system.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been in a situation like that, and it is no fun. And then when you leave a place like that, and you're like, wow, right? But it's Facebook. It's free food. It's meditation cubes. It's all, yeah. I'll pass. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Of course, today, still talking immigration. Nothing's getting anywhere close to being solved whatsoever. They had a very short meeting.
He sort of slammed the table. And when Leader Pelosi said she didn't agree with the wall, he just walked out and said, we have nothing to discuss.
Well, I mean, if it's true what was said by Kevin McCarthy that Trump asked them, what is it that you guys want? And you didn't give him an answer. And then they say, well, we don't want the wall. And your thing is, I want the wall, and I'm willing to give you something that you do want that maybe I don't want. And you're not even going to answer me. I could see the frustration. I could, right? Because now it's just, it's insanity, definition, right? Doing the same thing over and over and not getting a different result. And that's where we are. That's where we are in this situation. They're going to continue to do the same thing over and over again until people are so uncomfortable, until something happens somewhere where finally somebody looks up and said, look, the water's coming over the dam. It's about to breach. We're screwed. The public sentiment has turned, and this isn't something they want. I think it goes on through January. I don't foresee it being anywhere close to being done by the end of this month. I think Trump is figuring, you know what? I'm going to get to the State of the Union, the 29th. And then I think it'll start to pick up again the next day, and they'll go from there. But I think this is, both of them have their, I want this or I want that. And that's why I said, let's compromise, build a hedge, right? You build a hedge. Everybody's happy. Who doesn't love a hedge? You can't look at a hedge and say, that's immoral. It's not. It's a hedge. It's a hedge. It's just sitting there being all hedgy, right? How great would that be? Just build a hedge. It'll be perfect. We can just let it grow wild and crazy. People go camping out there to hang out on the hedge. I like it. I like it. I do.
Well, Rosenstein, the number 2 official at the Justice Department, the man who has been overseeing the Russia investigation since its very inception, plans to leave the department soon after Bill Barr, the president's pick for Attorney General, is confirmed by the Senate. Now, I'm told by a source familiar with Rosenstein's thinking that he's not being forced out by the White House, but he has informed them of his plans, and he wants to ensure a smooth transition for Barr. Naturally, he never planned on staying forever, and it's understood that if confirmed, Barr would want his own deputy at the department.
Of course. And with Rosenstein leaving, everybody's freaking out about this. Like, oh, my God, what's going to happen? The Russia. You got the Mueller probe going on. And that's that, for the Democrats, it's all happening. And I think one of the things is, too, they don't mind the shutdown because it's not really hurting them right now. So, and most of America, we have 350 million people that live here, and 800,000 people aren't working, and they will eventually return back to work. Some of them said they're quitting and they're having to find a new job, and that's understandable and that's frustrating. But is it really affecting your life to the point where, no, you ask a lot of people and they're just moving on with their life. And I think the Democrats are going to hold pat for a while. And again, I said this is going to be really a battle of attrition to see who wins this. And you got the Mueller probe out there. And I think the Democrats are going to ride this thing as long as they possibly can to see which way potentially this ship may go. And that may even help or hurt the negotiations. Anything's at play right now.
Of course, the big question this raises is what effect, if any, Rosenstein's departure would have on the Mueller investigation, the Russia investigation, as Rosenstein has been running the probe since he appointed Mueller in May of 2017 and has continued to oversee it day to day, even after Matthew Whitaker came on as the acting attorney general in November.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what takes place. And, of course, with Manafort and what went on there yesterday and the potential that he shared polling data with Russians, which would point to the first side of a potential collusion. It's I still think he asked for on Friday Mueller 6-month extension to the grand jury. So I think this thing's got at least another 6 months or a year to go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. For all the stuff at CES, Consumer Electronics Show, you know what the hottest things that people are paying attention to is? Sex toys. And a woman won an award, and wait till you hear what they did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. AMAC. AMAC, baby. Great company. Conservative alternative to ARP. Politically, they're advocating on behalf for common sense immigration reform. For things like Medicare, Social Security reform, things like that, they're out there doing that on your behalf, and they offer benefits that are so numerous. I mean, retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, 40% off movie tickets, up to 40% off Disneyland, SeaWorld, Legoland, all of these things. They really are a great company. And what they're doing is they're working with my listeners to give you a year free. They don't even want your credit card. You join today. It's a year free. You go to amac.us/chat. All they ask you to do is be over 50. It's that simple. Again, it is the conservative alternative to ARP. Join today, 1 year free. They're going to be out there politically advocating on your behalf. And on top of that, you got all of those incredible benefits that the members have, and they want to put their money where their mouth is. They're going to show you how great they are to work with. 1 year free. It's on me. amac.us/chat. 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 Join right now. 1 year free. AMAC is better. Better for you. Better for America. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
This latest Takata airbag inflator recall affects 1.3 million Toyota Scion and Lexus models made from 2010 through 2017. The Takata inflators can explode with so much force they spray shrapnel at the driver and front seat passengers. Those inflators have been involved in at least 23 deaths, several hundred more injuries. Other car makers will replace more than 10 million Takata inflators starting this month.
I'm just thinking to myself, how many airbags are out there and why are they still in cars? Never heard anybody go, those Takata airbags are really good. Nope, not a thing. I think it's just time to say, maybe we should just, if you've got a Takata airbag, maybe it's time to pull it out. That's what, I'm not trying to be mean, right? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying I've not heard a lot of great things is what I'm saying right there. So CES is going on. That's a Consumer Electronics Show. And some of the big things that we've talked about, right? The 8K televisions, the 5G networks, the just all of these amazing things, AI, all of this stuff. But the thing that won one of the big awards was a sex toy that has been taken back, by the way. Laura DiCarlo was invited to display its robotic OSO sex toy at the OC sex toy at the big event there in CES, and it won. And then they said, now we're going to take it back because it doesn't really fit anything, right? It doesn't fit into any of the existing product categories. They said, we're sorry for the mistake. And they're like, wait, other sex toys have won this, right? And then she said, on top of that, you've got robotic vacuum cleaners, robotic skateboards, 4 children's toys that are robotic, 1 shopping companion robot. Yeah. So a lot of people are saying, well, wait a minute here. This fits the robotics drone category. I don't know if it's a drone. I don't know what sex toy that is, but it is what it is. So it's interesting, but they said sex toys are the things that people are, because nerds, right? They're nerds. They're nerds. And what did digisexual is what I'm hearing the new phrase is, their producer Phil. Digisexual. Digital sexual. Where that's where we're going in the future, is we're all going to be digisexual. And we're going to have our toys. It's going to be like Westworld. We're just going to build what we want, right? It's like, man, I'm going to upgrade my girlfriend soon. I'm going to build what I want. Very interesting. But they said, yeah, the sex toys are the things that everybody's like, oh, look, it's an 18,000-inch TV, 25K, super extras, looks into the future, plus it rolls up into the size of a matchbox. And you're like, yeah, but look over there. It's a sex android. You're like, oh, everybody's over there. Sex sells. If you had a sex AI android robot that also happened to be a television, I think it's a win-win across the board. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Just like I say, you want to find out who the richest person in the world will eventually be? It's the person that can design a donut that every time you eat it, you lose weight. Not the person that cures cancer. That's the person that will be the richest person in the world, the donut weight loss guy. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The only reason they're against it is because I won the presidency. And they think they can try and hurt us going into the presidency, but that's not going to happen.
Trump and the Democrats got together after their just awful speeches last night. I said it. There you go. I said it. They were awful. They weren't good. They weren't. You have X amount of time with a decent amount of people who are paying attention, and you can deliver your speech and your sales pitch to America, and you both failed. You both, in my mind, you both failed. Some of you, right, who are in an echo chamber for one side or the other, you think that your side got across whatever it is what they were trying to do, which is fine, right? Because it's what you wanted to hear. But what about the rest of us who kind of want to hear some sort of compromise? And compromise is not a bad word. I don't know why compromising. It's not. Do you compromise with your wife? Do you compromise with your husband, your friends? Do you compromise with people at work? Or do you just not do anything? It's like it's either my way or the highway. And every once in a while, you've got to give in to something you don't want to do. Every once in a while, you got to go to a chick flick. Right? Every once in a while, you do. Because every once in a while, she's going to go watch a blow-em-up bang-bang movie that she may not be thrilled to go watch, right? She's dragging you to see the Nicholas Sparks movie, and you're like, oh, check it out. It's a dinosaur that somehow gets opposable thumbs, and it shoots stuff out of his eyes, and he's great kung fu warrior. I want to see this. Compromise. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. I don't want him to compromise. Okay. If we were in a house, like, could you see you know what? That's what I would do. I'd turn this into Big Brother. Just tell them all, you guys all have to live in this house. Right? Here. You guys have to stay here until this is done. Remember when you were a kid and your mom and dad were like, you guys are staying in here until you guys can figure this thing out? Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe. I don't know. What I do know is I'm at the point when I talked to several people today because I wanted to get the gauge of whether or not they cared about it being shut. And to a person, no, they didn't. One person said, look, it's directly affecting me, but I want a wall. But a few people weren't really aware of what was even shut down. And because we live in a society of, does this affect me? Not really. No, I don't care then. That's it. That's the way that works. So you guys go about doing the things that you're doing. You go about acting the way that you act. You go about saying things like how horrible one another is and just doing what you guys do.
We'll continue to discuss. We're willing to discuss anything. And he said, if I open up the government, you won't do what I want.
Okay. Yeah. Because he wants something and you're not going to give him what he wants. And you want something and you're mad because he's not giving you what you want. See the way that vicious cycle goes? And this could be fixed. And any rational people who work in a job and they fought like this to get a project done, and that project and people inside of that work depended on that project being done, if it was government, they'd eventually go bankrupt and they'd have to close it. They would. That's where we are right now. That is where we are. We're in this situation where this is what we have, right? Everybody runs to a microphone, yells at each other. I'm over it. You guys bore me. You really, really bore me. You really bore me. You do. I need some people that are willing to go, you know what? I was telling somebody last night, Trump said he was a great deal maker. Make a deal. Now, according to Kevin McCarthy today, Trump asked them the first words out of his mouth for apparently the third time in these meetings is, what is it that you guys want? Apparently they just want this to continue to go on. And until somebody really feels uncomfortable, until the clamps are really put on one side or the other, that it becomes unattainable anymore and that they have to act, this is what we're going to get.
The bombshell reveal. Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort accused of repeated lies to the special counsel's office. In his legal team's rebuttal to the accusations, they accidentally exposed the details of a new startling allegation. Robert Mueller's team claiming Manafort lied about sharing polling data from the 2016 campaign with Russian national Konstantin Kilimnik. Investigators say Kilimnik had strong connections with Russian intelligence during the 2016 campaign.
And now they're looking at the fact that $2.6 million apparently was paid to an oligarch from Manafort, which is interesting. It is. It's interesting. Could this be the first potential situation where you've got that C word?
If the accusation of handing over polling data is proven true, it could be the first finding that a senior Trump campaign official colluded or offered information to Russians about the race for 2016, a charge the president has consistently denied.
Yeah, well, doesn't mean that even if he did something, and he showed somebody something, doesn't mean the president was aware of it, but it also, a good manager, a good person who watches his business should know what's going on, especially somebody you're working that closely with. Now, Manafort strikes me as kind of a sneaky guy that was always looking out for himself, but I'm just saying, all right? It's still going to be tough to prove any of this stuff, right? It's he said, she said, he said, she said, you said, I said, did you say, I don't know, who saw this? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I'm all about fixing this wall debate by saying it's not a barrier, It's not a wall. It's a hedge. I think if you roll with a hedge, it's tough to, you can't look at a hedge and say you're immoral. Well, the reality is you can't look at a wall and say you're immoral. Right? You can't. It's like a wall's, it's an inanimate object. It's not doing anything. Right? Yeah, hanging out that wall. Is always chasing women and whatnot. And, just craziness and just doing drugs and cheating on his wife or cheating on her husband. And no, it's sorry. But a hedge would be great. It's got a bit of nature, right? It would look aesthetically pretty pleasing. You could say, walls and hedges can be breached, but if you do it in such a way that maybe it's 100 yards deep, there's thorn bushes, it's decorative, it looks really good, you can have different designs and different plants, make them, very, like native to the area, right? You do that in such a way, it makes it tough. I mean, imagine if you had these hedges, because if what we're being told is, the medieval wall, as Trump said today, is a barrier that will slow them down, which will give times through time for the Border Patrol and the people on the ground the opportunity at times to get to the places they need to get to. Because of the drones and the technology, I think that'd be awesome. I think that fits perfect. And a hedge would even be better. Because you could make it deeper, way harder to get through. Just make it just go take a look at the forest, not our forest, but go down and take a look at the tropical forest. And you don't even have to have real plants if you don't want to. You can have prop plants. Not immoral. Not immoral. No. Think about this for a second, kids. Because greed is everywhere.
Police in Vacaville outside of Sacramento say Abdul Song-Yang was put in handcuffs at a California lottery office where he showed up to collect his $10 million winnings. He had a winning scratcher ticket, but they say it wasn't his. It was his roommates who had won. The roommate went to turn in the winning ticket, and police say that roommate found out Song-Yang had replaced it with a look-alike losing ticket and had taken the winner. When Song-Yang showed up to collect the winnings, allegedly with that stolen ticket, he was arrested.
Here's the thing. He thought it was a $10,000 winner. $10 million. Oh, goodness me. How pissed would you be? I read, God, what was it last year? Wasn't it last year that guy stole that scratcher? Took it in the back? Stole the scratcher, then wouldn't give it to the guy, and then he fled to Bangladesh or wherever he was from. Oh, my God. That's to me, that's my fear, right? I win the big thing, right? The big prize. I'm not going to sleep. I understand that people don't go collect it immediately. I get that. But I would just want it out of my hands because I would. And people get weird around money. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. You could tweet at us. A bookmaker takes it in the shorts because of Trump. We'll talk about that. And was it a slip up? Was it a flub? Or was it racism? Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
You know, it's a nice day when you...
A typical day at the office gone terribly, terribly wrong.
It's the way it looked out at Martin Luther King Jr. Park.
Jeremy Capel, the chief meteorologist at NBC affiliate WHEC in Rochester, New York, was trying to pronounce the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he seemed to utter a racial slur that has historically been used towards black people.
Did he do it? Did a guy who's been in the business 20 years, who's upstanding in the community, got a wife and a couple of kids, did he look at them and say, you know what, today's the day, Daddy's going to go out there and show everybody, wink, wink, his true colors? Or did maybe he flub? Maybe he screwed up. Maybe in trying to talk for a living and go fast at times and trying to string together a set of words, you made a mistake.
But there was no malice.
For him to be called a racist, it's just, it just makes me very sad. I was sickened. We teach our children the message of loving others.
He was canned from his job, as you do, because people demanded it. And until other people who were in positions of power, of the hiring and firing of people, look and say, look, we've known this guy for like 2 decades, and he's a pretty good guy, and if we think he maybe had a flub and he'd just like to apologize and we can move on with our life, until that happens, you're going to get this more and 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 more. And this is what happens. And it's frustrating. Al Roker came out and defended him today. Right? This is stupid. This is idiotic. Come on. And as a person who talks for a living and has other people who are his friends, who also in a business where they talk for a living, you mess up. You do. But when you're looking to be offended all of the time, and I can guarantee you one person posted it, and then hundreds and thousands of people who were offended supposedly by this were people who don't even live in Rochester, don't even know who this guy is, but wanted his head anyways because they feel in their heart they know exactly who this character is. He is the Grand Wizard of the Weather.
Capel says he was never given a chance to publicly apologize.
Of course, I don't harbor any racist thoughts. They're not thinking through why on earth a guy of almost 20 years in this profession who's never been accused of anything like this before, why would I all of a sudden try to slip that in there?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Why would you do that, right? Why would you do something like that? Because you can, because that's part of it. Things like this have never happened before, and especially this. This is the easiest thing in the world to say. Martin Luther King Park. Come on. Easy. This has never happened before.
This exact same flub over the exact same words has happened with 3 other on-air talent in the past, recent past. 2 of them got to keep their jobs after they issued a public apology, and that's what Jeremy said he wanted a chance to issue a formal public apology.
All you justice warriors out there who are offended 24/7 nonstop, waking up in the morning to be offended, and you just want to be able to take your anger out on whoever and make sure that you punish them at all cost, forgiveness is an amazing thing. And sometimes in life, you just got to go, I forgive you if you're that offended. And for the rest of us, the 99.9999% of us who live in a world where there's common sense and sanity, we just go, he made a mistake, and we live our lives. It's wrong. I don't want to live in a world like that. I don't. I don't want to live in a world where one flub costs you potentially everything. And where people come on a daily basis to get you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Somebody tweeted, it says, really, Chad, a hedge? What if they light it on fire? That's why I say make it fire retardant. Right? What if somebody shows up at our wall and builds a bomb and blows it up? We could talk about the what ifs forever and a day. I'm trying to find a solution to a make-believe problem that both sides have created through inactivity and no action. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
To use them as hostages through a temper tantrum by the president is just so wrong, so unfair, so mean-spirited.
Chuck Schumer today. They love this. You do realize they soak it up. They love it. They soak it up. Because it's publicity. Again, it's not gotten to the point where it's so uncomfortable that the country, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, is looking at you with that stink eye. Most of the people are just living their lives day to day going, I really care less about this day. It's not. Because we live in a world of, how does this affect me? Oh, it doesn't? Well, then I don't care. And I'm talking about the shutdown. Immigration, look, immigration's a different story. But it could be solved, but there's no reason to solve it yet. And solving a problem. I remember when I first started doing comedy, and I was, I sucked. It was awful. And because you try to do too much. And there was like a one night at the Comedy Store, Richard Pryor was there, and back when he was still alive. I just want to point that out. He might still be there. I don't know. But one of the things he talked about is, do you, right? Don't try to make everybody laugh. And I know that sounds weird, but too often than not, what happens is you try to be all things to all people and make everybody happy. And when that happens is rarely do you make anybody happy. So what you do is you pick a path, you pick a lane, you come up with something that you think is going to work. You limit the amount of chefs in the kitchen, because when you have too many chefs, what happens? No sous chefs, no servers, no waiters, no waitresses, no whatever. It goes to hell. No bartenders, no barbacks. But when you do what you've got to do, right, you come up with it. You're not going to make everybody happy. Just remember that. Some people aren't going to be happy. Some people on your side, even though you're getting something done, aren't going to be happy because they feel you're giving away too many. And the other side, they're not going to be happy, some of the people, because even though you've got something done, it wasn't to what it is that they want. Those are the extremes. But we live in a world now, especially in politics, where we want 100% of nothing rather than 70% of something. We want what we want or else no. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That there be ye Twitter, ye old Twitter. Cancer rates down big time, which is great, right? I mean, looking at these numbers, it's you got to break them down and say, okay, well, what is it? The decline has been happening for years, right? The nation's cancer death rate was increasing until the 90s. It's dropped significantly, 27% since 91 and 2016. That's great. Prostate cancer death rates fell by over half in 2 decades, which is, first of all, technology is big. Obviously, the more advanced we become with medicine and genes and all of this understanding, the better it is for all of us. Secondly, smoking, drinking, and abusing the drink, if you will, is huge. When we've cut that down, and we're approaching just low rates of smoking. That's massive. There's still some things that need to be worked on, obviously, but when you look at how far that we've come, I think it's awesome. It is. Now, obesity is still an issue in this country. Rich or poor, black or white. Obesity is an issue. But it is it is very interesting to see how far and how fast these rates are coming down, and that's important because I don't know anybody in my life, as far as like who's not had somebody in their family or themselves been touched or battled some form of cancer, right? So seeing these numbers, I think that's a good thing. It's a positive thing. And a lot of it has to do with early prevention, right? Getting in, getting checked, knowing what to do, when to do it, technology coming up and really allowing people opportunities to live longer, and staying away from smoking. My buddy who's a doctor says, because we always joke, I don't smoke. I've never had a smoke in my life. I've never had a drink. I've never even tasted alcohol. I've never done a drug. Just my choices. I don't care what other people do with their lives, but these are my choices. And he said, you are 90% ahead of the game. Your diet could be better, but trust me, comparatively to other things, that smoking is massive. Staying away from that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. So I proposed a hedge. That's what I proposed. Instead of a wall or a barrier, a hedge. At Pettingill Mick writes in, hedge is a great idea. It would solve problems, several of them. It's a barrier, border security. Homeless can set up camps there. Homeless problem solved. Homeless could be hired to patrol part-time. Unemployment will go down. There you go. Let's do a hedge. Something that is aesthetically pleasing, but also can double as a barrier. Could Nancy Pelosi could stand up and say a hedge is a horrible idea. You could just go out and go, what are you doing? We're not putting in a barrier. We're not putting in a wall. We're putting in a hedge. Do you have something against plants and shrubbery? Right? Do you have something against that? Do you? But is this immoral? Is this immoral? I don't think so. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Another one of those things that happens every once in a while. Mueller and Manafort and everybody else in Russia has to pop up and say, oh, don't forget about us.
Reveal. Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort accused of repeated lies to the special counsel's office. In his legal team's rebuttal to the accusations, they accidentally exposed the details of a new startling allegation. Robert Mueller's team claiming Manafort lied about sharing polling data from the 2016 campaign with Russian national Konstantin Kilimnik. Investigators say Kilimnik had strong connections with Russian intelligence during the 2016 campaign.
I don't know what it means. I don't, a lot of people are saying, this is big.
If the accusation of handing over polling data is proven true, it could be the first finding that a senior Trump campaign official colluded or offered information to Russians about the race for 2016, a charge the president has consistently denied.
Yeah. But then it's the proving, did Trump know that was happening? Did Trump know? Or did somebody ask for polling numbers? And I mean, it's a lot of he said, she said. And it's once again, another one of those things where you ask the American people, does this play in your life at all? Does this play at all in your life? Do you wake up and say to yourself, government shutdown, Russia? Or do you say, when you guys come to some sort of fix and or some sort of findings, let me know. Until then, I got to take the kids to soccer practice and I'm working on a business plan. I think that's kind of the way the world looks at that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Got a poll question up today, and it is about last night. Because if you watch the speech at all, and the speeches, did they do anything for you? I don't think it moved the needle. I think both of them fell flat. Rate the speeches. Did Trump deliver? 58% of you who are delusional say yes, he did. 12% said the Dems delivered. 15% say both missed the mark. And 15% of you say it was hit and miss. I think they both missed the mark. I think they both fell upon deaf ears because part of the problem is who are you talking to? You know what I would have made them do? I would have said, all right, Trump, here's the deal. You know this better than anybody. We're going to watch a few hours of Shark Tank. See the people that are successful and the way that they pitch and how they go out and do it. See that? Because that's what you need to do to the American people. Just for a second, pretend the American people, it's Mark Cuban and all of these people. Pretend that that's who that you're pitching it to. And I know you don't like Mark Cuban, but pretend that. And Nancy and Chuck, you guys do the same thing. Watch this, because you're making a play and a pitch to the American people. So go out and do it in a way that'll be like, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I get it now. Oh, okay. All right. And then pitch the American people that way. Right? Which means you're friends and you think it's a great idea. Don't tell the idea back to your friends. Don't preach to that choir. Sell it to me. And the best thing I've always learned in life is keep it simple, stupid. And last night was anything but. You just turned to your base and regurgitated. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. See that guy yesterday that got on camera in Salinas, California, licking the doorbell for God knows how long? Don't let that be you. Don't let that be you. Right? Don't let that be you. Get Blink. Blink is amazing. Blink Home Security is incredible. Look, if somebody's casing your house, when do you want to know about it? Before or after they get in your house? Before, obviously. Right? If somebody's coming and kissing your doorbell, when do you want to know about it? Or not know about it? You want to know about it. Trust me, that's where Blink comes in. They're incredible. Motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras. They're wire-free, which is great. Setups in minutes, which is easy. Here's the thing. They run for up to 2 years on 2 AA batteries. If you're traveling, this is also something. And for me, it's amazing because I've got all my lizards and my animals. They have got their live option feed that lets you monitor your home, check on your pets, anywhere you're using the Blink smartphone app. It's incredible. Don't mess around with security, especially when it comes to things the most precious in your life, your family, and your stuff that you work so hard for. Get Blink, no contracts, no subscriptions, totally affordable, and Blink works with Alexa. Blink camera systems, they make great gifts, and they're a brilliant way to monitor your package deliveries. Visit blinkprotect.com/Benson, blinkprotect.com/Benson, blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blink is an Amazon company. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? People are texting me, asking me about Obama. Would Obama get the same treatment, the oh well treatment? Yeah. Look, unlike other hosts, I'm all about just show me the proof of everything. I'm not saying you didn't do anything. I'm not saying you did do anything. But I'd like to see it all come to an end, and then we can then go, oh, yeah. See, we live in a world where everybody now is part of a jury, and they make up their mind. They're like, all right, I think you're guilty, or I think you're innocent. Now you go on and you tell me, you give me the details. But you're already guilty, or you're already innocent. No. Show it to me. I go, you know, so I did the same thing with like a lot of the crap that went on with Hillary. At times I was like, I can't be bothered. I'm not going to be. Either show me all of the proof and not from some crazy lunatic website. Like, give me real details and then we can talk. That's it. Period. Case closed. That's all I'm asking. It's about proof, right? About proof.
It was discovered in 1955, the 60-million-year-old 3-foot-long fossilized skull of an ichthyosaurus, an ancient marine reptile with a mouthful of sharp teeth it used to eat fish. For years, it just sat on a museum shelf gathering dust, but recently British scientists put the skull in the same CAT scan machine they use for horses and other large animals. With the images and the 3D printed parts they used to fill in the missing pieces, they realized this was one of the most well-preserved ichthyosaurus skulls ever discovered and one of the largest. They're also using it to find out more about how the reptile's brain sat inside its skull.
Yeah. Very interesting. We're going to see it. They're going to bring reptiles back. They're going to bring dinosaurs back. They're going to do it, right? They're close to the woolly mammoth. They're close to, and I said the first two they're bringing back, saber-tooth and woolly mammoth, because the hubris of us humans is we look at them and we think we can control that, right? We've got this. This here we got. Like a woolly mammoth, just like a really, really, really big elephant. And a saber-tooth is like a really big lion or tiger. It's not a T-Rex or something like that. So we because people want to push it. They're going to want to push. 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 I get that. It's going to happen. We will be bringing those back sooner rather than later. Speaking of animals, I'd like a bucket of what's in that.
Workers at a Hazleton, Pennsylvania post office noticed that a package, according to court papers, was crowing. Inside, 2 adult roosters. Humane officers say the birds' wattles and combs were cut, apparently to prep them for cockfighting.
Sounds like a law firm. Yeah, I'm with Wattles and Combs. Crazy. So they tried to mail them. Now, that's not as weird as you'd think it would sound, because I get my big lizards. Some of my big lizards have come through the mail. They have. It's expensive. It is. It is expensive. I'm not going to say that it's not expensive, but they knew something was up. They did. They're like, hey, something's going on here. I feel like there's some sort of ring of nefariousness. This is
more often than not results in the death of one of the roosters that is fighting.
Todd Hefner, Luzerne County SPCA, says a search of a suspect's home found 2 more roosters and 9 chicks.
Breeding them, training them, and then presumably shipping them out of the country for this activity.
Alexandra Martinez faces felony animal fighting charges.
They don't like to be called chicks. They like to be called women. Just want to let you know that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I'll find that story. I still remember the guy a couple of years ago that died as part of a cockfighting ring, and one of the roosters had jumped up and had slit his femoral artery as everybody was fleeing the scene, and they found him later on, and I shouldn't be laughing about it. But if you're going to go... yeah, it's probably not the way to go. Do you think heaven is like when you're in line up there with St. Peter? Do you think it's like jail? It's like, yeah, what are you in here for? It's like, what happened to you? It's like, you don't even want to know. You don't want to know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. The hedge, guys. We're going to build the hedge. Make it out of stone. It could be a prop hedge, concrete in the middle. Oh, there's all kinds of things we could do. Nougaty in certain parts. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
President Trump, you want to talk about crises? At a time of massive income and wealth inequality,
oh God,
tens of millions of our workers are earning starvation wages and are unable to adequately provide for their families. That's a crisis.
Talk about getting old. The speeches last night were old, boring, stale, the same old same. Bernie comes out. What's he want to talk about? Income inequality. Income inequality. We have a problem with immigration. Yeah, but income inequality. See, you have to have a problem. How many times have we talked about this? I'm going to go see Aquaman in the next couple days. If Aquaman didn't have something to fight against, some injustice, he needs a foil. You know what he would be? He'd be just a dude, right? Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, any of them. So you need injustice, you need bad things, immigration, right? For the left side of the aisle, it's always, there's got to be something bad and wrong in the world. No matter how many times you point out how far we've come and how far we're still going and what we're still doing, there has to be injustice. There has to be bad things. There has to be. Absolutely. 110%. It's just got to be. Look, one thing that Bernie and I do agree on.
What we need to do is not to waste billions of dollars on a wall, but to finally address the need for comprehensive immigration reform, including improved border security.
Yeah. Across the board. Let's do it. Look, you know what? My suggestion is now a hedge. It's not immoral. You can make it big. You can make it deep. You can make it robust. You can have thorns and all kinds of things in there. You go and then you get you add several hundred and thousands of Border Patrol agents that can patrol, and maybe some with some green thumbs, and you have them go, up. A wall you can get over pretty quickly. If you figure out a way to do it, you can get over. A hedge going to be tough, right? Especially a big one. And you can't say it's immoral. You can't go, well, that's immoral. No, it's a hedge. It's not doing anything. The walls and the fences we have now are not immoral. Last night, though, 3 people gave speeches. Not one person changed their mind. Because rather than make a pitch to the people that, and the pitch should have been, if I was Trump and somebody smarter than me, you would think, would be around going, all right, this is what I want you to do. Put your cards on the table. Show them that you want a deal done for comprehensive immigration reform that includes a path to citizenship for DACA, which you've talked about in the past. Put that out there. Let them have to make a choice of, are you willing to give up this to get that? Because if they're not, then at least you could say, I'm willing to make a deal. I'm willing to come together and try to find some sort of solution. Once again, life's about trade-offs, and you're not always going to make everybody happy. There are people that are going to be, and a lot of times the people that are disappointed are people that are disappointed in the meal that they had last night, in the movie they saw yesterday, and in the concert they're going to see next week. They're going to be disappointed in everything. But instead, it was the same old same.
My administration is doing everything in our power to help those impacted by the situation. But the only solution is for Democrats to pass a spending bill that defends our borders and reopens the government.
It's just, what do you have? Right? The same old same. You've done nothing to sell the American people that you want to actually work in a way where you're offering up something that may piss off a bit of your base, but in return get something that was really the bedrock of your campaign. That's it. That's it. Why not?
I call on Congress to send me a funding bill to secure the border, build a barrier, and help end this horrific assault on innocent life, not to mention the drugs, not to mention the gangs and the criminals.
Now, it's funny, as he talks about that was today, I was laughing. I was telling producer Phil, so you said it was like the minute it was done, CNN's like, all right, let's see how many times he lied. I'm going to say this, and some of you are going to be pissed. Trump lies. And more often than not, he lies about things that nobody really cares about, that you don't need, whether it's the size of how many people showed up at your damn inauguration or just stuff that's insane that you just don't need to, right? That's easily caught. Now, politicians lie. We know that across the board. But the fact-checking is incredible. So check this out. So CNN fact-checked him, of course, as you do. And I got no problem. By the way, I love the fact that they fact-check. That's great. But I would like to know, that are you going to do this with everybody, or is it only this guy that we're not going to fact-check? We're going to fact-check him, but nobody else. One of the things they came out and they said, every day Customs and Border Patrol agents encounter thousands of illegal immigrants trying to enter our country. This is overstated, they said. Last year, 400,000 people were apprehended by U.S. Border Patrol at the southwest border. That's about 1,100 a day. Hardly thousands. Oh, my God. Right. My question is, well, let's just say for every one we catch, there's one that gets through. So it can't be thousands we encounter because one of them gets by. It's the game that they play. It is a game. Senator Chuck Schumer, Trump said last night, has repeatedly supported a physical barrier in the past. Now, this is their fact-checking him, right? So they can call him a liar. This is correct, they say, but context is key. Okay. So he didn't? Yeah. The game that they play is that they want to catch him and stuff. And again, if he lies, call him on it. I got no problem with it. Right? I'm no sycophant for Trump. I'm not. He said last night more Americans will die from drugs this year than were killed in the entire Vietnam War. About 60,000 Americans died as a result of the Vietnam War. Center for Disease Control said in 2017 about 70,000 people died from drug overdoses. However, the president's assertion is misleading, conflating the drugs coming across the U.S.-Mexico border with total drug deaths in the United States. That basically, if we close the border, that would all go away, is kind of what they're asserting that he is saying. But I think it's some 90% of the fentanyl that's coming through, that they're catching, is coming through the border. But you're reaching. It's just, you want it to be that he's a bad person. And this one right here was great. And Trump gives you enough. But when you have to frame it in such a way, it makes you think. In the last 2 years, Trump said, ICE officers made 266,000 arrests of aliens with criminal records, including those charged with or convicted in 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, and 4,000 violent killings. All right? Trump is using the statistics to paint a picture of dangerous criminals coming across the border. Here's what they say. Most of these were immigration violations, nonviolent crimes. In all, 30,251 arrests made by ICE enforcement officers. 210,000 had prior criminal convictions, including and or pending criminal charges. You get more than 266,000. So what does it mean? Was he wrong? Well, I mean, he's right, but it's games. Nobody's serious. It's games. Nobody wants to sort this out. It's games. Nobody's serious about it because until it starts to affect their bottom line, until it makes everybody uncomfortable, right? To the point where their base starts to turn on them and they realize they've got to do something, this is what you're going to get. This right here is what you're going to get. Frustrating indeed. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Jeff Bezos and his wife, Mackenzie Bezos, are headed for the divorce courts. Seems to be semi-amicable. He's worth about $140 billion. And it's funny that we talk about him being worth that because he's the face and the chief architect and the building of Amazon. But she was there long before he even made his first dollar, long before Amazon was around. And I do believe we're looking at the largest split in history. Potentially $70 billion? Does she want Amazon? Parts of it? Does she want just a cash payout? It's crazy. And I was reading another thing the other day. Do you know his mom and dad invested? I think they gave $250,000 when he first started Amazon. That's now worth about $3 billion to them, give or take. Not bad, right? How many of his friends threw some cash at it and are smiling? And then there's that one person who didn't. You know who you are. You're that sad person. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. MyPillow. Didn't have my MyPillow last night. So I ended up working till like 9 o'clock. So I started work yesterday at 6 o'clock in the morning, prepping, doing some interviews, doing other things, going through all my shows throughout the day. Finished late because of the speeches and everything. I forgot my MyPillow. I had just an awful night's sleep. You have no idea. You have no idea. First of all, I have trouble falling asleep, which is big. And then my mind's there and I got nothing to do. And then all of a sudden I go down the rabbit hole. That's where MyPillow comes in. Because when I have my MyPillow, I'm out. 2019's here. As you know how important health is, sleep is so vitally important. And you can tell, too, when you don't sleep, you're lethargic, right? You're hungry. That's where MyPillow comes out. I'm telling you guys, the more sleep you get, the more productive you are, the healthier you are, helps you with your blood pressure, so many things. Study after study has shown that. Get yourself a MyPillow. Buy one, get one free. It's going on right now. 100% machine washable, dryable, made in the USA. 10-year warranty right now. All you have to do is call 800-944-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. That's 800-944-4975 or MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Buy one, get one free. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. We've got a poll question up. We'll touch on that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker any time of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
The New York Department of Health reporting 188 cases of measles statewide, 66 of those taking place in New York City. The department says the cases are primarily in observant Jewish communities. In October, the department reported a number of measles cases linked to international travelers returning from Israel to Rockland County, north of New York City. The spread of measles is controlled with vaccines, and the Department of Health says it's working with local communities to contain the outbreak.
I saw a nurse last week. I don't know if you saw this post, and it went pretty viral. She was saying, if you don't want to get your kids vaccinated, that's fine. That's on you. Because you think Big Pharma is evil. They're always, does all of these things. But then don't bring your kids to the hospital or to the doctors when they get sick, because the same thing that you accuse the Big Pharma of being, which is evil and corrupt and bad, they're going to use those medicines to fix your kid. And if you don't believe in it before, why should you believe in it after? And I thought, well, that's a really, you break that down. That's spot on, right? Like that's spot on. So wait a minute. You didn't believe in vaccinations before because Big Pharma is evil and it's bad and it's corrupt and it causes all these problems. Then your child gets sick and you have to take him to the same place and potentially have Big Pharma and the doctors give you something. Something to think about. Just saying, something to think about. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh man, I've got a poll question up. What'd you think of last night? I mean, did it do anything for you at all? Did you find it to be noteworthy, salesworthy? And I didn't find it to be any of those things. In fact, I think it fell flat to America. I think it was a 58% of you say Trump delivered, 13% say the Dems delivered. I don't know how you think that, right? But 14% say both missed the mark. I'm in that 14%. And 15% of you say it's a hit and miss. It's a hit and miss. All right, I'll give you that. I don't know how you thought Trump delivered. Did you think Trump delivered? I just didn't think he delivered at all. Because I think he talked straight to the base. And I think instead of making a case of why they should work together and what he was willing to offer, because I think the more that you do that, the more offense, if you will, you go on, the better it's going to be. But instead, nothing. The only thing I could say that they agree upon is that they don't agree upon anything. And I was just happy that they said it was going to be 8 minutes for Trump, and it was pretty much 8 minutes, and that they came out, and then 2 animatronic robots came out. Really? Weren't they creepy standing next to each other? I thought to myself, this is why we'll never have old robots. Nobody wants old robots. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Was it a flub? Or was it racism? Oh. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Well, Rosenstein, the #2 official at the Justice Department, the man who has been overseeing the Russia investigation since its very inception, plans to leave the department soon after Bill Barr, the president's pick for Attorney General, is confirmed by the Senate. Now, I'm told by a source familiar with Rosenstein's thinking that he's not being forced out by the White House, but he has informed them of his plans, and he wants to ensure a smooth transition for Barr. Naturally, he never planned on staying forever, and it's understood that if confirmed, Barr would want his own deputy at the department.
Yeah, of course he would. Of course he would, if confirmed. And everybody's looking and saying, okay, Rod Rosenstein, the left is going to scream, it's big fires, big fires, Russia, the whole 9 yards. And Rosenstein's like, no, he's probably had enough. He's probably had enough. Remember, all of these jobs and these high profile, they have a shelf life. Even if things are good, there's a shelf life there. But for some people, this is it. Russia investigation. Look, Trump, they would love it to go away. He would love to just be able to go do a Thanos, snap his fingers. The reality is it's not going anywhere. It's going to run its course. I would have looked at last Friday with Mueller trying to get an extension and getting an extension for 6 months with the grand jury as kind of a, hey, you know what? They haven't found anything yet. Because if he's asking for another 6 months, it's because they're still turning over rocks, because they're still grasping at straws to try to get what they think they can get on me. On the other side, you could say, well, that's because there's so much corruption and criminality that he has been associated with that we're going to need more time. You can look at both sides of it.
Of course, the big question this raises is what effect, if any, Rosenstein's departure would have on the Mueller investigation, the Russia investigation, as Rosenstein has been running the probe since he appointed Mueller in May of 2017 and has continued to oversee it day to day, even after Matthew Whitaker came on as the acting attorney general in November.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to have any real impact, right? Mueller's going to do his thing. It'll come out when it comes out. We'll all wake up and go to work every day, unless, of course, you've been furloughed and or you are going to work begrudgingly and not getting paid for the federal government. Somebody just text in. You can always text the program, 323-538-2423. As we talked about the DACA thing, what I would have done last night with Trump is I would have offered DACA. It says, Chad, Trump doesn't want to be seen as holding the DACA people as hostages to the border wall. That's why he didn't offer a wall. DACA swap as a solution to the shutdown last night. I'm being directly affected by the shutdown, but the wall is of greater importance to me. Dennis in Auburn. I understand that, but you know, you've got to offer up something to get something, right? Just like they didn't offer up the wall to get DACA. You've got to offer up something to get something. And it's that kind of weird, you know, it's like two cats. You ever seen two cats when they go all crab and their hair comes up and they kind of walk in circles with one another? It's kind of what I feel like we've got going on. And more often than not, there doesn't end up being a real fight. They just kind of hiss a lot, scratch a couple times. They both run the other direction and nothing gets sorted out. That's what I feel like we've got going on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. This happened last week, and once again, we've talked about it with where we are in the world of social media and where we are in the world of justice and the social justice warriors and the want now to no longer ask questions and seek answers, but to punish. And the fear that companies have with social justice. You've got a weatherman, upstate New York in Rochester, Jeremy, I think his name is Cabell, who had a slip-up, a flub.
You know, it's a nice day when you...
A typical day at the office gone terribly, terribly wrong.
It's the way it looked out at Martin Luther King Jr. Park.
Jeremy Capel, the chief meteorologist at NBC affiliate WHEC in Rochester, New York, was trying to pronounce the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he seemed to utter a racial slur that has historically been used towards black people.
Yes. But was it racism? That's it. And in this day and age, we want to punish. Because God knows nobody's ever slipped up. You know, let he who hath no sin cast the first stone. Let me tell you something. Based on today's social media, everybody would start throwing stones. Because nobody's ever slipped up. Nobody's ever made a mistake. It's insane.
Two words mashed together incorrectly. What I said was not even a word, it was a sound. And people, I believe, read into that.
Nobody addressed the slip-up on air when it happened Friday. But after outrage grew online over the weekend, late Sunday, the station fired Capel.
Yeah, they fired him. They fired him because of a slip-up. So you mean to tell me a guy who's been in the business for 20 years, who's got zero complaints, by all accounts, his coworkers, the community seem to like him? He tries to say something fast. I talk for a living, right? Many of my people that I work with, we talk for a living. Many of my friends, they talk for a living. And it doesn't have to be just in radio or television. They just, for a living, you know, giving speeches, doing things like that. So you mean to tell me that today was the day? He's like, you know what? Today's the day, honey. I let the world know how I feel. This is it. I'm putting it all on the line. I know I'm married and I got two great little kids and life is good. And man, we got a good life. But today's the day I let it be known.
Meteorologist Jeremy Capel is no longer with News 10 NBC.
Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren saying station management only took action after the station was shamed into doing so by a backlash on social media.
There it is. Shamed. The fear. I've said it over and over. Until corporations and companies grow the cojones to stand up and say, it was a slip up, get over yourself, move on. Until that happens, this will happen over and over again. Do you honestly think, and again, I don't know what's in anybody's heart, but do you honestly think this guy would do that? If you listen to it, you could tell it was just, he was going really fast. Now, we've not had a slip up like that, but I'll tell you what, talking for a living, and producer Phil has hit the button a few times. Sometimes a word gets out, and you're not quite sure what that word is, but you hit it anyways. It can happen. The thing that pisses me off is the fact that we want to say, you're done. You're done. You're done. Not only are you done, we want you punished to the point where you lose everything. We want to label you something. And if there's any way we can make sure that you never work again or do anything other than beg and grovel and just sit around all day, that we will do, because we want to punish you. We do.
But there was no malice.
For him to be called a racist, it's just, it makes me very sad. I was sickened. We teach our children the message of loving others.
It's a joke. Now, you know what's weird about this? And NBC, I thought, did a pretty good job about it today, because they kind of defended him on the Today Show about this similar situation.
Well, anyone who's done this, as long as we've done it on air, you flub.
You flub, they said, right? You flub. Anybody who's done this, you flub. Has this ever happened before?
This exact same flub over the exact same words has happened with 3 other on-air talent in the past, recent past. 2 of them got to keep their jobs after they issued a public apology. And that's what Jeremy said he wanted a chance to issue a formal public apology.
Now, I think he's going to get another job. I think it'll be a better job. And there was a bunch of tweets, people like, oh, they're racist, this, that, and the other. Those people live in a world of being offended 24/7. They're looking to be offended. That is what their life is about. And for some people out there, as we talked about, the offended industry is huge. Who is offended? A small group. How can I make it seem like a large group was offended and that they were hurt and that they were damaged? And is there any way I could profit upon it? That's what that was. Don't think this guy was racist. And if you see he did a Facebook live kind of thing where he apologized. The dude is so contrite. You could see that it is eating him up. He made a mistake. He didn't even make a mistake. He fumbled his words. But we want to hold people to standards to the point where it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, right? This is it. We're going to punish you. We're going to punish you. That's what we're going to do. Punish you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Of course, Trump and Pelosi and them out and about today, getting out in front of the cameras, talking about things over and over about what took place last night, where they think they can go with this. And, the left is saying, I think the Republicans are cracking Senator Mitch McConnell.
We're all behind the president. We think this border security issue is extremely important to the country. We appreciate your leadership on it.
Yeah. I think the Republicans are behind him. I do. Talked to Congressman Schweiker yesterday. He says, I've been in elevators recently with a couple prominent Democrats, and they've both said to me, we need a barrier. We need a border of some sort that really separates us. And there's something, but politically, my base would never allow me to even think of that because of what it would do. Even if it's the right thing, you take your cues from something else. Sad. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. ButcherBox. ButcherBox, lad. What am I going to have tonight, you ask yourself? Should I have the tips? Oh. Maybe I'll have some chicken breast. Or better yet, thanks to ButcherBox, maybe I'll have some sockeyed salmon. Sustainably harvest from Alaska, Bristol Bay, Alaska. That's what they've got now for you. You know about the quality of meat from ButcherBox, and if you don't, you're going to know now. First of all, humanely raised, right? So there's no antibiotics or hormones ever used. Grass-fed, grass-finished, just incredible. Free-range, organic chicken, amazing pork, raised in a way to keep all of their fat and flavor. It is incredible. And now they've got sockeyed salmon. Alaskan sockeyed salmon. I don't know why you'd want to sock a salmon in the eye. Maybe it insulted you, but they got one of those. And now, you can get it too. Best cuts, incredible flavor. I don't eat. I like pork chops, but you and I both know that sometimes it's tough to eat. You need to add some stuff to it. This you can cut with a spoon. It's awesome. And I'm not a huge fish fan, and the salmon is amazing. So what are you waiting for? Join today. Go to butcherbox.com/Chad. When you do, it's a limited time. They're going to throw in 2 pounds of wild Alaskan sockeyed salmon. Plus, they're going to give you $20 off. Less than $7 a meal. Comes directly to your door. Free shipping. And it is absolutely amazing. Butcherbox.com/Chad. 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 At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. Wrap it up. Got a nice useless information fact for you straight ahead. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
You've done everything on screen, including marrying Winona Ryder in the film
1992
Dracula, right?
Yeah.
And I heard that the priest was actually a real priest, and so that you might actually be really married to her.
That's what Winona says.
Right, and then so if that's the case, then are you guys celebrating anniversaries?
Yeah, once in a while I'll get a text, "Hello, husband."
Now, for a while, it's like folklore. It's like, it can't be true. That can't be real because they're in this castle and it was a real priest and they got married. And he didn't think it was true. And then
I didn't really believe her. And then Francis Ford Coppola, the director of Dracula, contacted Winona and said publicly that, yeah, that actually happened. The priest did a full ceremony and Winona and I got married.
And I love how they're just like, we're just living our life. So in theory, you guys are married, but you're just kind of ignoring it. It'd be like if you got, that happens at sea, right? You can do that at sea. The captain can marry you. Oh, no way, bro. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. I can't wait to see John Wick 3. And if you've never saw John Wick, right? Producer Phil, you never saw it? You should see it.
If it was a popular movie, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you should see it. It is great. And John Wick 3 comes out, puts the end to the trilogy. I think it comes out in May. And it is, I can't wait to see this. Speaking of folklore, something I guess that has been confirmed, but has been known for a long time is Star Wars is successful. Very, very successful. But Lucas didn't think it was going to be successful. And one of his best friends at the time, still is, was Steven Spielberg. And he actually went to the set of Close Encounters because Spielberg was filming at the same time, and he was down because he had just kind of put the wraps on Star Wars. It cost too much production budget. It was way bloated. He took the toy deal and stuff. He didn't think it was going to be a hit. And Spielberg was like, dude, your movie's going to be great. He goes, nah, I got lucky with American Graffiti. It was the right time, Nixon and Vietnam. I got lucky. This isn't going to be it. It's done. It sucks. Your movie's going to be huge. And Spielberg says to him, no, your movie's going to be massive. He says, no, it's not. He goes, I bet you 2.5 points. 2.5 points of this, that your movie will be successful. More successful than mine. And he says, really? They joked around and said, okay, I'll take that back because I think Close Encounters is going to kill it. $40 million and counting is what Spielberg's made on that bet, and he's been paid out. Oh, my God. So think about that next time you bet your buddy for, hey, I'll flip you for lunch. Think about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Latest outrage of the day, Bryan Cranston. Apparently, people are mad because he's in a new movie that looks great with Kevin Hart, also controversial. It's called The Upside, and he plays somebody who's disabled, who is quadriplegic, and people are mad because he's playing that part, and it didn't go to somebody who was disabled. First of all, actors like to act. Secondly, if I'm going to throw $50 million into a movie, sometimes it's good to have a name in the movie to sell tickets. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Twitter poll up. What'd you think of last night's speech? Rate it on Twitter. Here's your useless information on this hump day. Putting sugar or honey on a wound will reduce pain and shorten the healing process. And if you had spicy foods, you put a little sugar on it, it will help your tongue. Have yourself a good rest of your hump day. As always, kids, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.